Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content. Wins, they come in all shapes and sizes, and we've seen the Cavs get wins in all shapes and sizes over the years, and over this year. Cavs win number 50 was a stubborn one. It looked like it wasn't going to happen. The Cavs were flat out getting beat down in the third quarter of this game. But they rally for an overtime victory over the Portland Trailblazers. Now, again, we'll talk about the game, what happened in this game. Look, if the Cavs would have lost this game, I don't think it would have said much about them, nor them winning do I think it says a ton about who this team is that you didn't already know. I think what was important in this game was what you got from your Cavaliers from Virginia. Talking about Ty Jerome and Deandre Hunter, right? The two former Virginia Cavaliers, I thought really carried you through a rough night from Darius Garland, 4 of 16, 2 of 7 from the floor. Max Strus was fine. He had some shots late in this game that I think were really important. Jared Allen was bad in this one, dog. Like, I'm usually the first person to tell you Jared Allen had a good game. He did not have a good game in this one. He was the last two games. I wonder if that finger injury he's been playing through is starting to really weigh on him a bit, and maybe he just needs to sit out a couple of games. I know he prides himself in playing all the games, but these last two games have not been great. He's had his minutes reduced significantly in these games. 5 of 7 from the floor, which wasn't bad, right? He had 12 points, but defensively, he just wasn't who he usually is today. And offensively, just made a lot of mistakes, a lot of offensive penalties. Not penalties, this is football. Offensive fouls. In this game, I just didn't think he played well in this one. So yeah, you didn't get a good night from Darius. You didn't get a good night from Jared Allen, which is significant. Evan, I thought, really came to life in the fourth quarter. Was 6 of 14, 1 of 3 from 3, had 20 points. A lot of those points were in the fourth quarter with 8 rebounds. And again, it says a lot about the kind of basketball Evan Mobley's been playing throughout the year, that we can kind of take a 20-point game from him for granted, because that was not the case last year. But yeah, Evan got his 20. I thought he was fairly impressive in the fourth quarter. Was kind of forgettable before that. Dean Wade, I thought he was fine tonight. Isaac Okoro, it was what it was. He didn't shoot the ball too much. But really, it was Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter that really carried this Cavs team through. And look, people tell me all the time that this Cavs team is not different. But those two guys, right? Those are two guys who are not a factor in your playoff rotations last year. Those are two guys who were not on this team for, well, I mean, Ty Jerome was technically on the team. He was injured. But those are two guys who were not huge factors in what the Cavs were doing before this season. And now they are gigantic factors. I mean, they combine for 50 points. So when people tell you it's the same personnel, it's the same team, it's not even true. The Cavs have added, because of injury and trades, 2 guys who can easily win 6th man of the year. And tonight, both these guys showed you, while I believe they were both, one of them was in start line. Deandre was in start lineup. I don't think Ty was in start lineup. But they played starter minutes tonight. They had to play starter minutes tonight. But they showed you why that's the case. DeAndre Hunter was on fire from 3, was 5 of 9. Not a single 3 looked like it should have missed off his hands. Like, it was like 2 of them bounced in and out. Absolutely has been on fire since coming to the Cleveland Cavaliers, shooting 60%. Now, I am a little concerned because, look, nobody shoots 60%. Steph Curry does not shoot 60%. Eventually, these numbers are going to come back to earth a little bit for DeAndre, right? Like, he's probably going to settle around a 40+% shooter, but he's not going to stay at 60. So eventually, he's going to come back down to earth with his 3-point percentage. Hopefully, it's not at an inconvenient time for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I do think that his percentage is going to be improved from what it was in Atlanta, because I think the quality of looks that he's getting is impressive and like a lot better than what he had in Atlanta. Sometimes he's just pulling, though. Like there was a couple where he just dribbled, stepped back, and just shot it and just went in. That ability helps you a ton. And I think even though Deandre Hunter had 32 points here, offensively was a force for you, the 7 rebounds and the effort defensively made all the difference in this basketball game, especially down the stretch for this Cavs team. And you're just seeing every game. Look, man, we traded for him and we've won 10 games in a row. And not only has this Cavs team won 10 games in a row, you're talking about 3 games in a row versus the 2 seed in the West, Minnesota. Don't know where they're sitting, but you beat Memphis, Minnesota, and Boston and New York. And like 3 of them games were straight up ass whippings. Well, 2 of those games were straight up ass whippings. Since you've added Deandre Hunter to this team, it is obvious that this Cavs team has taken a step. We saw it even in micro doses in the Boston game, where you did not have Deandre Hunter out there to start the game. You put Deandre Hunter out there, and all of a sudden, this 25-3 lead just shoots straight down to like 13 before the end of the quarter. Deandre Hunter trade is going to be, it wasn't the most publicized trade of the trade deadline. That was obviously the Luka Doncic trade. But I do wonder if after the season, that Deandre Hunter trade becomes the most talked about trade of the deadline. Deandre Hunter trade has the feeling of one of those trades that feels a lot more impactful once we look back on the season, because you go out and look at it. You look at all the big NBA YouTube accounts. You go look at all the big NBA outlets, ESPN, TNT, like all this stuff, all the more mainstream NBA stuff. They didn't talk much about the Deandre Hunter trade. And I think that was because they were so focused on all the other stuff. Jimmy Butler got traded, right? Luka Doncic. There were shinier toys than Deandre Hunter being traded to really focus on. But I do wonder if he keeps playing at a level similar to this and the Cavs achieve what they have achieved with him on the roster for the rest of the regular season and in the postseason. Then will we look back on this, and will the larger NBA apparatus look back at this and say, hey, might have been one of the most important trades at the deadline, definitely the best under the radar trade that happened, because Deandre Hunter, since coming to Cleveland, has absolutely been a difference maker in almost every game that he's played in. And the games he hasn't been a difference maker in, it's because the Cavs just came to an overwhelming lead before it mattered, right? But any game where it's been close, we've talked about Deandre Hunter providing a ton for this basketball team. Another player that I fully expect to be a big deal for this team down the stretch is Ty Jerome. Ty Jerome has that thing about him where he just knows how to make big shots. He just knows how to make big plays. Case in point, we look at the end of the third quarter. It looked like it was going wrong for the Cavs, right? They had went and brought this lead back within like single digits a couple times in the third quarter. And at the end of the third quarter, the Portland Trailblazers are going to run, and it was one of them runs where you're just like, all right, bro, like, I guess they got it, right? Scoot Henderson makes this bullshit 3 in the last second, and the Cavs go down like 18 points, and you're like, okay, you know, if we don't bring this in within like 13 before the end of the quarter, Kenny's well within his rights to say, hey, let's just give our guys a rest and worry about the next game, which I thought was 100% on the table at that point. But here come Ty Jerome. The second I feel that, Ty Jerome, you could just see on the screen, he realized that, and he just kicks into second gear, right? And I think he got a steal, or he got his hand on the basketball that kept it alive, and then that went to an open man, and then an open shot got made, and then Ty Jerome started to go off, and the next thing you know, this lead is closed, and the Cavs now have the lead. This is exactly what a championship team needs, is somebody like Ty. Right, we talk a lot about the comps for this Cavs team, whether you want to say they're similar to the 2015 Warriors that won the championship or the 2014 Spurs that won the championship before. you can come up with easy parallels to both of them. It feels like Manu. It feels like Tony Parker. It feels like Sean Livingston, right? Like it has that feel. He's a big guard that can come in there and get these buckets and control the tempo of everything. Again, I am not going to be surprised when Ty Jerome has a monster quarter that completely swings a series in the playoffs. If you're going to beat Boston, if you're going to get out the East, if you want to win an NBA Finals, I promise you there are going to be multiple moments where we're talking about Ty Jerome really changed the tempo of that series because the Cavs were down by 10, and then he just starts making buckets and he starts doing little stuff. Another guy who does little stuff defensively is Sam Merrill. I think he deserves a little bit of credit for that. I don't think he's going to be a factor in the playoffs, but I do think for the regular season, he does do a lot of the little stuff defensively. And a couple years from now, and once he gets that three-point shot a little bit more stabilized, I do think he will be a sufficient bench player for the Cavs. But yeah, man, Ty Jerome and Deandre Hunter, those are the two guys who should be competing for Sixth Man of the Year. Honestly, like you just watch those two guys, the difference they make when they're on the floor, the impact that they have and the amount of minutes that they have. And now, because of those two guys, the Cavs win a game that they absolutely should not have won. It felt like they were battling the refs. They were battling the vibes. They weren't making shots. It felt like one of those games you lose after a big game, a big win against Boston. You just have one of those letdowns, those natural letdowns that you have during the course of an NBA season. But it just didn't happen. And it didn't happen because Ty Jerome and Deandre Hunter decided that it wasn't going to happen. Fantastic game. Look, this video could have been 10 minutes of me complaining about the reffing because it was terrible. But because of Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter and their efforts in this game, along with guys like Max Strus and other guys who showed up in the fourth quarter, but because of the effort of those guys, I don't even care about the refs being terrible in this game. Because they was god-awful in this one. God-awful in this game. I think the free throw disparage was like crazy. I think they put up 35 free throws. I guess it got evened up by the end. It got evened up. But at one point, the Cavs had like 10 foul shots to like the Portland Trail Blazers like 30. In the fourth quarter and overtime, it started to be officiated more evenly, and then it's not a surprise that the Cavs outscored in the more evenly officiated parts of this game. They outscored the Trailblazers about 14 points. Not a surprise. I think that was a huge part of why the Cavs weren't able to get a lead in the middle of this game. But it felt like it was one of those nights. But when you got guys that you can lean on, I know Shaq says that Donovan Mitchell's the only guy who can get you 30. But tonight you just saw that DeAndre Hunter is capable of getting you 30. Ty Jerome damn near almost got you 30. This Cavs team's got guys who can get buckets, and they play good defense, and they turned the switch on. And I think that was all the difference in the world. So shout out to the Virginia Cavaliers of Cleveland because I think they really showed out today. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this game. Cavs get to win number 50. They're 2 wins better than they were last year. We just started the month of March. Cherish this. Appreciate this. Enjoy this. A season like this, even if you have the most talent, you can roll out an NBA Olympic team in the NBA, and it's not guaranteed you're going to have a season like this that feels like this, that is as fun as this. Just enjoy this. This is not promised, okay? Not every sports fan gets a season like this in their lifetime. So enjoy this, right? You don't know how many times you're going to get this kind of season. So make sure you enjoy this because this is rare. But yes, the Cavs continue this crazy season. And this is what, their third double-digit win streak of the year. This is an amazing basketball team. 50-10. 50. And you look at the rest of the schedule, man. They could do something crazy down the stretch here. But 50-10, your Cavaliers are. Everybody have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.